Hi, welcome to my home. Welcome to my home. Submitted for your approval. Welcome to my home. Don't I look much more dashing than I did in the last video? Welcome to KJB. I'm not even going to say KJV anymore, because it's not a version, it's the Bible. KJB 1639. That's what my last video was called. Part 1 that I made long ago, a lot longer ago than I care to mention. I mean, you know, it bums me out. Up until a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Leapin' Leprechaun was still on the fridge here. I swear to you, he was still there. Look at this fridge. Isn't this nuts? And this thing is like my wife's filing cabinet and my kids' art gallery. Anyways, Leapin' Leprechaun has been replaced with this spooktacular notice from the girls at school. So, it's been a long time. And this part 2 has been coming. And by the way, if you haven't seen part 1, click here, right here. Click right there, right now. It'll take you to part 1. You'll see that thing. It's kind of long, but I promise this one won't be as long. Okay, now here's part 2. Here's the point of what I was wanting to get at with all of that. The reason why I had a 1639 page out of the King James Bible that I showed in that video is because of this thought. At some point ways back, I was thinking about the fact of when did the Pilgrims come here? They came in the 1650s, am I correct? So I was wondering, wow, you know, maybe that's why God had the Bible finally put together fully in English for those folks who would be coming to this country, so that they would have God's Word in hand. And that is absolutely what the deal was. When the Bible was translated into English, finally, correctly, in 1611, people had it. They had it in English now. You know that those Bibles were huge. You know, they were gigundous. You know, I got a video with Charlton Heston. You can see one of those gigantic Bibles that he has there. Look for it in my other videos. But they actually chained those things to the pulpits in England because people were so hungry to see God's Word and to read it that they were actually afraid that people were going to steal it from the pulpits. So they chained it there. Well, so anyways, I got to thinking, you know, well, maybe they were too big. Maybe they couldn't have brought them with them. You know, they didn't fit in their suitcases back then while they come over on the, you know, those boats. And well, then I saw my 1611 or 1639 Bible there that I showed in the other video. That page from, look at it if you haven't seen it. Little bitty thing. It's amazing. They had those Bibles about the size of this. Yeah, look at this. I got myself a 1611 King James Bible. And these are cool. You can find them on CDB, Christian Book Distributors, CBD. That is you can find one of these. You can get your initials put on it there. Looks real pretty like. So anyways, I got myself one now. No more videotaping stuff off the screen there. If you want to see any particular passage, you look it up and videotape it. Make a comment down below. I'll do whatever you like. I got my own now. Okay, so then the other important date that I wanted to mention that you can find on that timeline that's in one of the links right up above here, 1769 was the last revision of the King James. If I'm correct, there were 4 revisions of the King James. Now, a lot of people use that as a silly argument about which version of the King James do you prefer? Well, they had to make revisions because, you know, English wasn't quite, even English wasn't quite down pat yet. And by the way, it's not still. No, I mean, it actually, I think it was refined, it was good, at the beginning of our country. It's gone downhill ever since. So anyway, 1769, well, what is that? 7 years before we claimed independence from England. Well, God had that all taken care of too, just before our country was founded. You know, there isn't one other thing that somebody's going to bring up, I'm sure. In the middle, between the Old and the New Testament, there used to be the Apocrypha in the King James Bible. Well, they put it in its own little section there, you know, titled it something different, and then it finally was gotten rid of in the mid-1800s, which was of course a good thing. But then in the late 1800s, the guys who were responsible for the Apocrypha came back into play, and pull another little something that we'll talk about in future videos. You know, I didn't plan on, when I started with this video or YouTube thing, to do the King James Bible stuff, but hey, I've been led into it. I mean, when people start knocking God's Word, hey, you got to fight. You know, somebody comes along and they start bashing your kids or something. What are you going to do? Just stand back and watch? Forget that. Okay. Okay, now the other link that is up here, and in the first one also, is Thomas Sheardown, this old country preacher who used to tour the area here and plant churches and all. Check out this site. Check out this site. I'm going to go on the computer here. So join me here as I look at this. Now click on that link. It'll take you to the table of contents page, and there, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see Chapter 6, 1830 to 1860, Evangelizing Revival Incidents. It's page 187 if you happen to have the book. Now here you'll see a little story, if you scroll down, about my little hometown here. Now in the second paragraph, it talks about the encounter with some men folk and some two daughters who were well able to set the table. And he wants one of these fellas to go out and, you know, spread the word about him going to be preaching in town that night. Well, he met up with some reluctance. One of the stout young men here, you know, didn't really want to do it, and he said he wasn't going to go telling everybody about this. Well, the guy says, "I don't think we shall care about hearing you. We have been taken in here too much by strangers." I remarked to him that there must not be much time lost in getting out the appointment. "I shall preach, sir, and I shall not notify the public people myself." That's what this other guy told Reverend Sheardown. He said, "I should like to see your credentials." I told him my credentials had no business. He had no business with. "You are acquainted with the brother who is with me, and by him you have been sending invitations for me to come over and preach. I am come, and there is no time to be lost parleying about credentials. And now, sir, I want you to start, and start speedily. And I want you should run, not walk, but run from house to house, just as fast as you can, and tell them that Elder Sheardown is going to preach tonight at Miller's schoolhouse. Now, don't you delay, sir." "But I have not time," he said. "It makes no difference to me, sir, whether you have time or not. You have got to do as I tell you, and now, make all speed." And, okay, so I think you get the point here. It's kind of interesting, kind of hard to understand a little bit. Different type of lingo going on there. But I submit to you that's harder to understand than the King James Bible of 1611. That's because it wasn't written in any style of Old English. It was written as they translated it, using some old words that we don't use anymore. But, you know, hey, how difficult is it to look these words up? You know, in fact, there's a lot to be learned there. Oh, for example, you know, in the love chapter, where, you know, but the greatest of these is love. Some people say, well, it says in the King James Bible, charity. And you say, charity? Well, what is that? Working at a soup kitchen? Yeah. Isn't that a form of love? Oh, what is it? Giving out clothes? Is it giving out stuff? You know, yeah. That's love, huh? So the word charity actually encompasses love and broadens the meaning. You know, but some people say, well, why can't they just use the word love? Well, because love has been beaten down by the devil these days. You ask anybody on the street what love means, you may get, you know, a dozen people saying a dozen different things. But charity encompasses love, like I said. Okay, so I guess that's about it. Unless there's anything else anybody wants to bring up, I'm sure you will, down below in the comments. You guys never fail at doing this. I'm going to have more videos, of course, on the KJB. And I've also got a little track that I want to share with you that will help some of you folks that aren't quite deciding on whether we have God's Word in the English language. Or I'd be glad to send that track to you. And I'm going to be making a video about that. And a bunch of other videos, Lord willing, coming up in the next bunch of weeks. But boy, I'm glad this one's finally over. This one's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to get this out of the way in a long time. And there it was. So thank you very much for watching. God bless you.